All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the last segment, and I'm here with Mark Skills, a former national team player. I forgot to talk about that. Mark, we've been talking about our failures in Warriors as a team. I'm going to remind you about another. It was the semi-finals. Warriors taking on UCU. We had lots of talent. We had Camelo, we had Bazango on the floor, we had you, we had lots of guys on the team. Last seconds of the game, we were up by one. I think Obol and Etel were the coaches or something, plus Mutebi.
It was Sam Obol and Ronnie Mutebi at that time.
So someone takes a shot, we think it doesn't go inside, then the market just comes and does, and game over.
Oh man, to be honest, I was just stunned. If anybody remembers or watching the video, I just stood in the middle of the court. I couldn't believe what had just happened, you understand? We were up one, Cyrus came in with a couple of seconds to go. He pulled up from 3. And then they were up about, I think, 6. And then I came in, I was going up against John Egawa at that time. I pulled up from somewhere in the middle, knocked down the shot, and then Cyrus he was fouled, he went on the line, he knocked down 2 shots. And then we were up 1. And then with just about 5 seconds to go, we played good defense on the, on the top, and then somebody shoots the ball.
And there was no
and
box
it just
out.
Bounces off the rim. We had Amenyi in the paint at that time. We had Camelo, and then we had, what's this other guy? What's it called? Deng. The American guy who had gone to University of Portland, And they thought probably everything. The market just came in from somewhere and tapped the ball in. It was, to me, it was just gut-wrenching at that time. It was a punt, so it was a punt. I was so gutted at that time. Even when we went to the team talk, I didn't have nothing to say. Didn't have nothing to say.
Briefly, how was your stay in Warriors? Was it positive or it was negative?
I have nothing negative to say. I loved every single bit of it, staying like Warriors, learning, turning from a small boy into a grown man. It was everything I'd ever envisioned. Won a championship with Rhino, and then there was a time I came back from India as well when I was in school. 2012, 2013.
I think when you came back from India, I think you're about 40 kgs or something. You're skinny. I looked at you and I was like, I think you're almost dying or something.
Oh, man. And that was the time, man, a young man growing into a big man at that time, being away from home, you understand? And just trying to figure out, navigate your journey through life. And there were so many great experiences, but at the same time, I grew a lot in basketball in India. They taught me so many things. I had so many way better professional coaches than we did back here. And that play FIBA, by FIBA standings, they were ranked higher than us. And there was a lot of foreigners who were coming into India to play the league as well. But when I came back, my game had really changed. I think everybody could notice. It was very evident. When I came back from India, 2012, that's when we won the championship with Warriors anyways. Got that one in 2012, right? So basically my stay at Warriors, for me personally, it was great. It was great. I made friends, I got brothers, I got mentors, basically acquaintances, a lot of people. I have a very huge family from Chambogo side.
We forgot to talk about you as a national team player. I watched you a couple of times. I've seen you play 3-on-3 with the Uganda national team. How was your experience in the national team?
My experience, on the national team, I should say it was bittersweet. You understand? It was bittersweet. There were good moments, there were low moments. And sometimes, you'd sometimes get to a point where you hate the game, you understand? Because of those things sometimes you went through, sometimes you look at certain things, they were not merit-based, it was based on, like who who is supporting you in the background. And to be honest, at some point, it got to a point where I'd come of age and I was like, you know what, nah, I'm really too good. Because there's times when like you drop a couple of players and then they'll take some other players. And as a basketballer, it sounds very unprofessional for you to be complaining about certain things. So sometimes, but there's so much, you can be silent as a player, you go quiet, but the silence is so loud, you understand? And you see a lot of critics. People are very opinionated about the game of basketball,
Let me take you back a little. Who are these guys who are in charge of selecting a national team?
Of course, they had a committee, they had a committee,
like
the coaches,
the
coaches,
managers,
the managers and everything, federation. And apparently, like, of course, some players who are, older and players who have been around the team for a long time, had 1 or 2 words about who could be on the team. I think Omonya, was the guy who could, say a couple of things here and there. about the team and what he believes, which was not bad. It's a good thing, you understand. But of course, there are certain things personally for me I didn't agree with, or certain players didn't agree with. But as a player, you have to be professional, you have to be quiet, you know, you have to just learn how to go with the flow. That's what they always say. Because sometimes when you comment about certain things, oh, you're indisciplined, you know, you're not coachable, and all those kind of things, they come into play. And, you know, like the narrative is always, the player is always the wrong person. The organization can never be wrong.
I mean, look at this trade. We're just betting about it with you. Luka Doncic and Dallas Mavericks. Player can never be bigger than
it's not like so for me personally, I don't look at it from that standpoint. A player, yeah, I know a player can never be bigger than the team. The team comes first, you understand. But at the same time, everything that happens, you're wrong. You understand? You're never right. When a team does what's best for them, even if it's fair or it's unfair, even if it's unfair, they say like, okay, you know what? It's just what we have done, and everybody stick with it. When you choose to do what's good for you, and like, oh, you're indisciplined, you understand? You're not a good player. And we have that. And it got to a point where things moved from being merit-based to like, oh, I know this person, oh, the person is on my team. And you, honestly, you get to a certain point where you're like, you know, is it really worth it? You know, I've come of age, you understand? I'm getting into, I'm in my 30s now, you know, like I'm trying to navigate my way through other aspects of life. I need to fall back into my career as well, what you went to school for, try to figure out life. There's more to live outside basketball. So when you start navigating those things, you're like, you know what, but overall, on the positive side, it was such an amazing experience, you know.
I mean, you go to play with players like Jimmy or Mon.
Definitely, man. Those are my brothers.
Those are basketball gods. I mean, Coach Mande Juruni.
Yeah, man. Those are my brothers, to be honest with you. You got a chance to play with the Cyrus Chiviris, you find the Kongs, you find Josh Johnson, you find Rumanyika, you find a lot of guys. Honestly speaking, growing up as a child, that is the peak of basketball in Uganda. You understand? Every child who's playing or anybody who's growing up right now, who's working really so hard in Uganda, literally, that should be that should be what you're looking at. You understand? Because every kid, once you play and you're so good, that's where they have to call you up to. If you don't get to that place, that means you're still lacking.
I mean, how was the chemistry with you guys? I mean, the talent you've talked about. It reminds me of the Redeem team. I mean, Kobe, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Dwight Howard. That's a lot of talent in one team. How was the chemistry between you guys when you got together to play for the national team and you had little time to practice together?
But the fact that, you know, I attribute most of it to the fact that, like, if you look at the young kids, like our generation, the Jimmys, the Cyruses, the Romanyikas, guys who came through, you get to realize we had played together before in the lower leagues. You knew each other's tendencies, habits, and everything. So for some reason, when it came to national team, it came natural. That sometimes you'd find coaches dropping in the same group of players on the court, and you really see the game is flowing. Guys are running quick, they're passing the ball, they're attacking the rim, reading, having one-on-one situations, taking advantage of it, and all that kind of stuff. And that came from the fact that we had played together, a little bit longer. But of course, when you mix it with guys who were there before us, you know, the likes of Omoni, the Normans, the Afidras and everybody, Brian Sentongo, it was really like, they helped also channel us, you know, guide us, talk to us. It was really amazing.
I mean, I talk about Mande Juruni as a coach. People have come here and talked about Mande as being this. They say he's the winningest coach. You've played under him. Is he what they talk about? Or you are disappointed?
Winning coach in terms of
what? Like championships in Uganda. I mean,
of course, his resume speaks for itself. You understand? He has done incredible things for basketball in Uganda. You understand? He has done incredible things for basketball in Uganda. His record speaks for itself. He has led to the national team, the men's national team, to places that had never been to before. Yeah. And then he won a lot of championships with City Oil, Zone 5, he has been a champion. Well, you can question his ways as a person sometimes in certain situations, but at the same time, his resume is intact. So even if you try to call him out or say something against him, his resume is intact. There's nothing. You can't knock him off, you understand? Yeah.
I mean, Mark, I know you're in your 30s. What would you tell Mark? Or what would you tell a 15-year-old Mark right now? If you were to talk to yourself 15 years ago, what would you tell yourself?
Well, what I would tell him right now, you should have believed more in yourself, more than anybody. There will always be external noise from outside, people calling you out, criticizing your game. But the most important person is you. You need to drown out the voices in your head and believe in yourself and push yourself to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be.
And what would you advise him when it comes to girls?
Advise him when it comes to girls.
What did you tell Mark? What is he going to expect like right now from the ladies?
It has its good sides and it has its bad sides.
Because sports goes hand in hand with women.
Of course, man.
I was talking to a guy recently on this show, and he was telling me girls made him. I mean, it made us, no lie. When you hear girls screaming anybody in the basketball court, you're very excited. You feel like this is heaven.
Definitely, as a young child growing up, we are attracted to the game because of the kind of crowd we could attract. When you go out and you're playing, you're making amazing plays, you know, your name is buzzing, people are talking about you, the girls are starting to like you. Of course, it was a good feeling, but at the same time, everything has its pros and cons, you understand. The good side of it, you have a good time, you get to chill and everything, but it also affects your game.
Yeah.
It also affects your game. You need to be able to strike a balance between what's good for you and know what's good for you. And that's where the importance of mentors come in.
Yeah.
You need to have mentors, people who have been there before to talk to you.
I'll give you an example. I had a game against, I was in Falcons, I played against Power. So I was excited after the game, scored, I was double, pick rebounds. Then guess who calls me after the game? When I saw this, I knew it was crazy. Omon called me and told me. Yeah, I was excited. I'm like, I played well, let me just go and drink my soda and celebrate. Yeah. He called me and told me, I don't want you to think you've arrived. I've done that, I've been there, so calm down, boy. When Omon told me that, my energy went down like this.
Yeah, but it was good. It was good for you.
When you talk about mentors, I know what you're talking about.
Like it was good for you. It kept you grounded. You realized. Because sometimes people get, they're in the limelight, yeah? They start shining, they're playing pretty well, and they get taken up by all these things. Remember there's certain things that people don't realize. When you play basketball, you're shining. Remember that kind of crowd is going to come with a lot of girls.
Yeah.
Where there is fame, there's going to be a lot of girls. Where there is fame, there's going to be a lot of alcohol. Yeah. Where there is fame, there's going to be a lot of sex. There's going to be a lot of mingling. There's going to be a lot of wrong decisions that are made. And a lot is lost in that whole process. Yeah. Now, if you don't have that tunnel vision of who you are and where you want to get to, you can easily get distracted. You need to feed your focus a little bit more. Yeah,
I mean, I want to go like quick fire right now. I know we have a couple of minutes to the end of the show. Quick fire right now. Who is that defensive player you went against and you're like, man, how am I going to beat this guy? It's okay to send me. I'll not feel good.
No. Well, to be honest with you, there's when I started really picking up, they used to throw a couple of defenders at me, guys who are really solid. You understand?
Yeah, like me, right?
You were there amongst them in the lower division. When
No,
allow it, man, allow it. There was Jeff.
On Monday.
On Monday. He was hard-nosed. You're not getting past me, at least I'm going to hurt you.
Yeah.
You understand?
Kenyan style of basketball.
And his mentality was locked in. Man, to be honest with you, I love this mentality. He was a dog on defense. You understand? He's a player you wish he was on your team, not on the opposite side. Because the dog sticks out for his teammates, is helping. He's that guy. When you're going up against him, you must have every tool in your box.
Yeah, then offensively?
Offensively?
Yeah. I mean, who is that player you tried playing defense on and he was killer? You can say me, I have no problem.
Man, for me, the guy I never figured out, I think, till even when I was with him on the same team was Ronnie Caseo. I just don't know how he did it. Like, he was left-handed, you do things, he puts the ball on the left, you go there, it's not there anymore. You're expecting him to drive, he's pulling up. You're expecting him to pull out, he's driving. I mean, like, he was the whole package, man. Like, he was the whole package. It was really hard to figure out Caseo Ronnie. He was literally everything. He would go on the block and post on you. Yeah. He's going to shoot the mid-range. He's going to attack the rim. He's going to shoot the three ball. And above all that, he was freaking smart. Like, as a basketball player, he was a true student of the game. Like, he was a basketball genius. Even when you sit down with him, when they call you, or probably you get a sub and you're coming onto the bench. Yeah. And then he's sitting next to you, and then he starts breaking down some of the things that you are doing wrong on the court. Even if you want to argue sometimes, you look and be like, man, you know what? This guy has really figured me out. Yeah. Like, he was spot on.
Yeah, then let's go to your top 5 greatest of all time internationally, and then of course locally. Me and you're a LeBron guy, hands down, and I'm Kobe. I'm a Kobe guy. We have really thought about it, year in year out. I'm still sticking to Kobe. I know he passed on, but I've never seen any better player from Kobe Bryant apart from Michael Jordan. Let's go to your greatest of all time, top 5.
An NBA.
Yeah, international.
Of course, MJ, and I have Braun. Are we going by position? We're just
Yeah,
meddling
just tell me
5
your
random
top
people.
5. Just top 5.
Well, of course, I have MJ, I have Braun, I have Kobe himself.
Yeah.
You understand? I have Kobe, and then
Those are 3.
those are 3. I would have Wilt as well, Chamberlain, and then I would have Shaq.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
That's 5.
So back to our debate. Do you think Kobe is still better than LeBron, or LeBron is better than Kobe?
Bro, allow it, man. I'm looking at a complete basketball player.
I mean, you're
Braun,
basing on what? You're basing on what? LeBron is not clutch.
Everything. What do you mean he's not clutch?
Is
You know,
LeBron
like
more
when
clutch than Kobe?
you see when you talk about that debate or LeBron is more clutch, he has the most clutch shots in
we'll continue
NBA.
this
You
later.
understand?
We'll continue this after the show. Then let's go to your top 5 locally.
Look, aside from me, I shouldn't mention myself, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
I shouldn't mention myself. Of course, if I'm not mentioning myself, I would go with, of course, I have Norman. You understand? I have Steve. Amazing dude, amazing basketball
That
player.
who's Steve? I don't know Norman. I don't know Steve.
Steve Omonyi.
Yeah, Steve
Steve
Omonyi.
Omonyi. Of course, they call him Galactico.
Yeah, that's Mr.
When you're on the
Uganda.
national team, they used to call them the Galacticos, him and Norman, the
Norman
special
Blake.
ones. Even when everybody is late, for them, they can afford to be late, but not
I
everybody
was
else.
talking to Ikoga, and he told me one day they were in Rwanda. They came out of the hotel, and then everyone was in the bus. They were only waiting for one man.
Steve Omonyi.
Steve Omonyi came late, and he was not apologetic. The coach was like, "Thank you for coming." Now let's get back into. You told me
I've told you Norman Blake. Steve. I would give Koma. Koma was phenomenal,
Ben
man,
Koma.
at that time. Ben Koma was special at that time. And then we have, of course, Cassell.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. I mean, you're speaking
Cassell
about
for
Norman
me.
without Cassell, yet you're talking
Cassell
about
was
Cassell
really
as if it's
special
Kobe.
for me. And then who else can I put in there? Because there's a guy I used to love watching play basketball. I don't know if a lot of guys watch him. He was called Wassa. He used to play for Miracle.
Yeah, Waswa.
was-
Liz Bazira's brother. big
Man,
brother.
that guy was hard-nosed,
Yeah.
man. He was a knucklehead. He was a pain to deal with. He was everything, defense, offense. He used to play with a certain level of aggression. Yeah.
I mean, so those are your top 5
Yeah.
ladies category. I don't know if you have like all-time 5 internationally. You can tell me 1, 2 players who stood out for you as you're growing up as a player, or even right now, internationally.
I love Parker.
Candice Parker.
Candice Parker, she was, and then there was this lady who was playing for Minnesota, the one that retired from basketball. Of course, I love Augusta.
Yeah.
Augusta, she used to be a very solid basketball player. And then, of course, I got Taurasi, Diana Taurasi. Diana Taurasi has always been amazing. And then, of course, Whitney Griner as a center. She has always been amazing. But now, if you look at like the new generation of women in basketball, you have the likes of Juju Watkins coming in.
I asked you for 5, you began.
Yeah,
I
I
want to
know,
define-
I
you
know.
want to tell
But
me
at the
20.
5 great, no, I can't do. But what I'll tell you, Candace Parker, Diana Taurasi, I have Whitney Griner, Savannah Augusta, and then my Mo as well.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
perfect. Then locally, I know you were in Rhino, and Rhino had a ladies team. Was it Amazon Rhino? Yeah, Amazon Rhino, Charging Rhino. So I'm definitely sure you have some favorite ladies who inspired you to play the game.
Ladies who played, who really stood out for me when I was growing up. Oh man, Moding, definitely Moding is on the list. Yeah, Marina Moding is a dog, man. She was a dog, and then I used to love watching Mavita Ali play. You understand? Mavita Ali was really sick with the basketball, and then
Those are 2.
and then we used to have. There's a lady who was in KCCA. I don't remember her name.
that
She was a
Becky
post
Akula?
player.
Or
not
Hamada
Becky Akula.
Mariam?
Mariam, yeah, that one. She was real solid when she used to play, and then there was
Those are 3. 2 to
the
go.
3, and then To be honest, surprisingly, I used to love the way Liz plays. She was very aggressive.
I mean, that is not
Mazira
surprising.
Liz,
That's not surprising. Everyone knows
You know, of
Liz.
course, sometimes people go with the flair, but there's a certain level of
You need a
aggression.
hustler on the floor. Yeah.
She had a certain level of aggression she would play with, which I had not seen with many girls before. Of course, there was a girl who used to be in UC. She was called, is it Kingi or something like that? She was
Lorraine, the tall one.
Lorraine.
Yeah, so
that
those
she
are
used to be
five.
in. Then, man, there's still so many. I would add
did
even
only
Purity
five.
Ajambo.
Then greatest of all time?
In Uganda?
Girls, in guys in Uganda.
Greatest of all time in guys in Uganda, Norman Blake, man. Norman Blake for me.
Yeah. Then internationally?
Greatest of all time?
Yeah.
You don't even need to ask that, man. The kid from Akron, Ohio, man. The inner city. Bro.
Let me just shake my head. So Bron is greater than Michael
That is
Jordan.
my greatest of all time. It doesn't matter. People can have their own goats. That's my greatest of all time.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, Mark, before we wrap this one up, something to the viewers outside there. I mean, players who want to learn the game, and as a former superstar, former national team player, someone who left the game, what do you have to tell our viewers before we wrap this up?
Well, what I would love to tell most of the kids who are out there who are learning the game and playing the game is don't let the fame and everything get to your head. Just stay grounded, keep stacking up your days, get in more reps, try to be a student of the game every single day. The work don't lie, just keep putting in the work. The game will come together at some point. The game will come together as long as you keep stacking your days and keep getting in more reps every single day. And being a student of the game, being able to be coachable and learn from certain situations, you can't go wrong. It will always add up at some point. Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that has been episode 5 of Around the Game. I've been your host, Vinny Jura, aka the Mamba. Mark, thank you for coming through.
Always the pleasure is all mine, my bro.
Yeah, and to the viewers outside there, please do not forget to subscribe. And of course, special thanks to Nihati Restaurant and Lunch for letting this happen. I've been your host. See you next time. Have a splendid night.